We're going to do only AAA for worst games. But there is an indie game that made it to my top 5 best. Who knows what that could be? We'll have to wait till I talk about the best games. Let's see what all came out this year. I feel like I already know what my worst games are going to be, but let's double check. Gungrave Gore. That didn't come out this year. This came out last year, but I'm guessing it's just for this platform, for the Switch. Why would they even bother? What was the point? This game made top 5 worst games of the year for me last year, didn't it? I'm pretty sure I put it on there. This game was awful. Even more embarrassingly, they paid a few streamers to play it, and they had to fake that it was even somewhat fun. Hey, Last of Us Part 2 remastered. That came out in January. It's also coming out again next year. No stinkers in January. Not that I played there. Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash is 100% going on my top 5 worst of the year. This game is almost unplayable garbage. A complete waste of the IP. Anime games always fall into one of 2 categories. Lazy arena fighter cash grab, or lazy... Visual novel's not the right word for it, but you know what game I'm talking about. Usually it's just the throwaway arena fighters, though. Also, they've been starting to fall into another camp with like gacha. They have like gacha elements, like that solo leveling one. I'm pretty sure is a gacha game. But yeah, this game sucks. There's not a single redeeming thing about it. They couldn't even be bothered to put cutscenes in the game. They just took still images from the show. That's how lazy it was. And this poor guy had to make a whole fucking cutscene compilation.
Well, even if he is a vassal, Jujutsu regulations demand Itadori be executed. However,
it's just completely worthless.
A request from a precious student.
I still can't believe you beat this game on stream. I said I'd do it, and I did it. Also, it was only like 4 hours. It wasn't really much. Did I beat it? I actually beat this game? I don't even remember doing that. You sure? I'm about to be on Act 2 of Cruel, Matt. I've been grinding the shit out of PoE, I love it. Skull and Bones! The first quadruple A game! Ubisoft! Yeah! What a good year for Ubisoft. I can't believe its stock price is so cheap. Worth about as much as a piece of bubblegum. Makes no sense with games like this. They invented the quadruple A gaming space with Skull and Bones. How's it doing, by the way? Is it the biggest game in the world? I just typed in Skull Bones. Why Skull and Bones failed? Well, it's a little early to throw in the towel. Is boarding still a cutscene?
We've streamlined the onboarding.
Life is too short to be spent on this game. Not even the few Skull and Boners are excited about it. Best quality of life improvement comes from avoiding this dumpster fire. We want large ships boarding, being able to join other players' ships, and use weapons, swordplay, and guns. You telling me none of this is there? I know boarding's not there, it just plays a cutscene, which is mind-boggling. But what do I know about quadruple A gaming? This dragon's cool, though. Fighting a dragon on your ship, that could be fun. If it was in anything that wasn't Skull and Bones. I'll keep this up here as a potential top 5 candidate, but I feel like there were worse games than Skull and Bones this year. Oh, the Battlefront Classic Collection. This was broken when it came out. Trying to play that on launch was miserable. That game just didn't work. Probably not going to be my top 5 worst. But it is very impressive they took like a 20-year-old game and still couldn't make the multiplayer work. Like, how do you take a game that was totally functional 20 years ago and fail to make it functional now in the modern age? What a blunder. Where was Suicide Squad? Was it in February? I thought it was in March. I thought it was in the right month. Oh, here it is. You're right. I did miss it. It slipped right under my radar. Absolutely going to be on my top 5 worst games of the year. A complete slog. Oh, and they did just announce their final season. Well, I think it's season 4. This will be the last one. And it's only fitting that they go out with such a whimper.
What can I tell you about Deathstroke the Terminator that you...
Pretty epic scene.
What? You listened to his speeches?
See, that's pretty cool. Brainiac killed. But not really. The game will never actually finish this story, because it wasn't good enough to last long. It's just not a good game. There really was so little to like about it. I think there was, like, maybe a little potential with some of the gameplay elements they introduced, but the game itself as a package was just fucking miserable. And it had the cardinal sin of having so many escort missions with your little vehicle. Ugh, what a chore. What a chore. Movement on some characters is so good. Yeah, some of the movement options I think were really creative. And it did feel good and pretty fluid to move around the world. But there'd be no reason to move around the world because there was nothing in it that was worth looking for or doing. Man, I fucking hated that game. Probably going to go on the top 5 worst of the year. Plus, even if we're looking at it from like a financial standpoint when it comes to flops, this game cost Warner Bros. About $200 million. So that's pretty impressive. Dragon's Dogma 2. Oh, jeepers. Zoinks. This is still, to date, the only game I have ever played that would not work. When this game launched, I couldn't play it no matter what I tried to do. I still haven't played it because they released the game and it was... I couldn't play it. I tried streaming it. I tried even off stream. Didn't work. Never went back. Disaster. Disaster. It's still good, bro. Yeah, but they released the game that doesn't function. That's not really like a whoopsie-daisy. That's up there with like Cyberpunk's release. But I was able to play Cyberpunk on release. I couldn't play this. Launched a non-functioning game with a fourth of the content of the original. Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to tell you. I loved the first game. I thought the first game was amazing. Whoa, El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron. They brought that to the Switch? I did not know that game was popular enough for that port. This was a really cool game. Doubt it holds up well, but this game had a really nice style to it. This was back in the 360 era. Well, I figured El Shaddai was only going to be the game. Clearly it was more than that.
To save humanity.
That does not look how I remembered it in my head. Yeah, maybe there's a chance it just doesn't hold up all that well, you know what I mean? It was cool for its time, though, I'll tell you that much. See, this guy even made a whole video on it. Greatest game with the worst title ever. It's a good game. It was a good game. It was cool. Why are they still trying to port Biomutant elsewhere? Just let it die. It was terrible. Just let it stay in the ground. X-Defiant! Let's go! R.I.P. Didn't last super long, but you were there for a little bit. That's tough, that's tough. Concord! There she is. The biggest financial flop in entertainment history. A dead-on-arrival game. You all know how fucking terrible this game was. Like, the game itself was just like your throwaway generic hero shooter. Like, the game, like it worked, it just wasn't fun. It was also way too slow. But it's just, conceptually, it should have never even been released. This should have just stayed an idea that they never actually pulled the trigger on. Charging $40 for a game that's just worse than all of the free alternatives is a bafflingly delusional decision. And also apparently cost $400 million. Thought it was the next fucking Star Wars. Star Wars Outlaws. I really didn't like this game at all, but I stopped playing it after like 3 or 4 hours. It was just so mind-numbingly boring. I feel like that should earn a place on the top 5 worst. There was nothing I liked about it. I didn't get into the story. The stealth gameplay felt like out of 2005 era. Luckily, they did make a change where now, if you get spotted during stealth, it doesn't insta-end the mission, which should have just been the default setting. There was just truly nothing I liked about Star Wars Outlaws. I heard the Until Dawn remake was worthless, so I didn't play that either. Man, you know what I did this year? I avoided a lot of the worst games. I really kind of only played the good ones, huh? It's just starting to dawn on me. I kind of only played the heaters. Outside of, like, some of the shitty games through Steam new releases. I never played Slitterhead. It looked like it'd be a fun bad game, but everyone said it was just, like, really boring bad, so I didn't play it. See, like, damn. I really did avoid, like, all of the shitties. Yeah. That's all. Oh, wow. So it's between these 6, and I think it's kind of easy with these 6. All those Ubisoft games. Ubisoft's only in here twice. Poopysoft only had Outlaws and Skull and Bones up here for me. Alright, let's put them in order. And who's getting cut? I feel like Dragon's Dogma has to get cut because I couldn't play it. I literally couldn't play it, but I feel like that should also be a sign of just how bad the game was that it didn't work on launch. Man, this one feels dirty since I quit 4 hours in because I just hated it. But you know what? That should be a strong indicator that it was one of my least favorite games of the year. I'll put Star Wars Outlaw at 5. No, maybe Skull and Bones at 5. This is another game I didn't play much of because it was just trash. Oh, this is so tough. You know, we'll do 5 and 4 to Skull and Bones and Star Wars Outlaws. Very interchangeable. Ubisoft, they can take the bottom here, and you can just switch them around however you want. The top 3 is where it actually gets competitive. Star Wars absolutely better than Skull and Bones. It's not even close. I'm not gonna fight you on it. I don't care. I didn't like either one. I think they're both just not good. Like I said, these are fully interchangeable with 5 and 4. It doesn't bother me. But this is where I'm actually going to start fighting people on, because I think Suicide Squad will be number 3. I think this will be number 3. And I really think, in a shock to pretty much everyone, I'm going to go Concord at 2, Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash at 1. And that's because, as I said, Concord as a game was just like the most serviceable, generic, formulaic throwaway hero shooter, but it played. It was a game you could play. Jujutsu Kaisen, there was nothing to play. Like, there was nothing there. Actually nothing there at all. This is the biggest financial flop in entertainment history, but setting aside the flopperooski of it, the game itself was better than Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash. But you can't even play Concord now. Yeah, but you also can't even play Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash either, because the Lord himself will stop you from playing it, I would imagine, if there's any fucking justice in the world. So we can't look at it that way either. Also, Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash is $60. Is it still $60? Also, wasn't it $50? Let me see. Oh, it's on sale right now. That's big. Get your credit cards ready. Nope, still $60. You are correct. Another point into my bucket for why it's the worst game of the year. Reverse curse price tag. Yep, pretty much. I'm pretty satisfied with that. I'm satisfied with that top 5. Man, I did not play a lot of the stinkiest. Well, I mean, I played the stinkiest, but I didn't play some of like the more mid-tier stinky. I went straight to Methodist. I didn't dabble in like revolting. Yeah, I need to start playing more of like the mid-tier bad games. I'll start doing that again, I guess. Looking at that list, there are a couple bad games on there that I do regret not playing. 2025 New Year's resolution, I'm playing more of these like mid-tier games that I know are just going to be bad. I just really don't like to be bored with games anymore. Like, I'm not going to push through like a Star Wars Outlaws because it's bad and I'm bored by it. So I'm not going to fucking force myself to finish it. Same way I wouldn't force myself to finish like some of these other ones that I knew weren't going to be good, like Slitterhead, right? But 2025, I'll at least try and push through.